go.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what I've been up to and kind of what's been going on with me too. Hold on a second here.
yeah.
Hold on a second here. I have to hit the button here. There we go. I have avoided. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. This is episode 1007. So that's part of what I've been up to. I have
1007. Dang.
Yeah. This is one of the this is actually one of my last Twitch streams doing it this way.
Oh yeah.
Because I want to take my show on the road. I've been doing road shows when we're done here. Today's a personal. I have some client work myself. Right now. I'm advertising a show I have filmed, directed, and I have edited. Like the first 3 episodes are pretty much done. I'm
Oh
working on
wow.
episode 4 today. Like that's my freelance aspect of it. So the other thing I've been working on for the last month and a half, ever since I got back from San Diego and I did a writers conference. I've had a novel I've been working on to get for an agent. So
Sweet.
that's literally got submitted last night, like the initial query of it. So
Mhm.
she asked me to send it. So I'm prepping the rest of the novel as we speak because
Oh, cool.
call me a confident son of a bitch, but I think I'm going to get to at least to the next phase.
Right.
After that, we'll see. Like I don't have any expectations after that, but
Mhm.
I'm fairly certain I'm going to get to the next phase. Beta readers that have read my story so far have told me, because at the time it's 2/3 of the way through the novel. It's like,
Mhm.
where's the number one comment is, where's the rest of it?
Oh really? That's cool. That's a good
Yeah.
comment to have actually. You know. So.
Yeah. So when you get that, like I deliberately this was my first this novel. Like this is the first novel where I've actually felt like I've gotten every aspect of creation down.
Mhm. Mhm.
If that makes sense.
Mhm.
Because the hardest thing I find with art, and it doesn't matter what it is, whether you're drawing, doing comics, writing. I'm picking a card at random today. So this is my commander deck for Magic the Gathering. So what I'm
Mhm.
going to be drawing is something from the deck.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's just I'm going to try it. I'm nowhere near as talented as certain people here, right? But I'll try to keep up with you as best I can.
Man, I'm drawing does it matter? What is
I don't
that?
care. That's the card. It is Massacre Girl.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. Sweet.
I'm going to try her. That's what I
Uh
picked at random, folks.
uh like man, I'm actually in the middle of working on, like I was saying before, is that it's been, like I said, I've been away from I've been on social media, but not really, like kind of like checking in, and I'll post some stuff and then jump off because I've been essentially just working on books, man, working
Yeah.
on our books and stuff like that. So um but and working on client work. So how does this on your show, do you show like what the process of the sketching process is, or how does
Well,
that
it's up to you. Like honestly, this was the whole idea behind the drink and draw. I'll tell you the secret to this. I
Mm-hmm.
realized that people, like artists, like not I'm not going to say you, but
Mm-hmm.
artists in general are shy. So what
Mm-hmm.
I've learned is, right. I'm not going to say you don't have your moments. I'm sure you do, but I have never gotten the impression that I couldn't bullshit with you anytime. I think
Right.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. But I found is that a lot of artists are shy. So
Right.
I made a personal decision to kind of get out of my comfort zone a little
Mm-hmm.
bit with doing the drawing thing, and but also in the process figure this is a great way to communicate with fellow like people that draw because
Yeah.
this is their world,
Right.
right? So I figure why not get out of my comfort zone, right? Get them in a comfort zone so we could just chat about whatever comes up.
Right.
So if you want to show off your sketching, you are more than welcome to do that. If
Yeah, I
you
mean, I can't. What I'm working on. What's your audience? What's the age limit of your audience? And the reason why I say that is because I do a comic strip that I'm behind on, and it's like a web comic, and it's really about women MMA fighters and stuff like that.
I don't think my audience group would have an issue with it, but dude, this is about your comfort zone. Like, what do
Okay.
you want to show?
Yeah, it's and it's not what I'm drawing is not anything really bad. It's just
Yeah,
or anything like that. It's just that comic strip it's adult oriented. You know what I mean? It has some adult stuff in it, and
sure.
um um a lot of I have a lot of readers um have two different wide ranges. I mean, I got a wide range of readership, which is kind of hard for me because some of the people are reading my web comic from that came from like a long when I started in on DeviantArt a long time ago.
Yeah,
That's
that's how
really
we that's how we met, actually.
yeah. I started like a long time ago, and that web comic, even though it kind of ties into some of my other comic books that are on the shelf, it is a lot more adult oriented. There's a lot of cussing and real adult situations and stuff in there. And then you have like Shinobi Ninja Princess, which is like more kid friendly, and then you have Jetta Tales of Toshigawa, which is like
Somewhere in the
um
middle.
yeah, more it's like what do you call it, like a YA book, like a young adult
Yeah,
to adult book. So you have like a wide range of stuff. So sometimes my and then I teach illustration as well. So my my degree of readership goes like really far sometimes, and they don't really cross over, which is another weird thing. It's like they don't, it's kind of hard to be like, how are you going to um how do I market it effectively if um if I'm not, you see what I'm saying, like if I can't cross over my artwork to certain areas. Sometimes it does cross over. Sometimes some of the readership does jump back and forth, but most of the time it doesn't. Which is kind of odd. It's kind of hard. It's hard to be able to wrap your head around that. So
actually, I figured that out. That I
mhm,
figured out. That part of it, I realized. Okay, so I've done so each of my books. So I've published 6 books.
mhm,
5 of them are epic poetry style books. One's a sci-fi novel.
mhm.
Okay, they're all different. They all reach different audiences. My One of my books is Alice in Wonderland Greek mythology riff.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So another one of my books is a trilogy about a slave boy that kills his dragon masters and goes into it's post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Then I have um man she man my the gal I'm drawing, the bodies around her, man, she's like a badass. She's just annihilating people.
Mhm.
But no, I what the thing is, what I've learned is none of these books necessarily hit the same people. I have an Alice in Wonderland
Right.
rep, I have a science fiction, and I have a post-apocalyptic YA, for lack of a better
Mhm.
term, right?
Mhm.
Now, so how am I going to approach? So I realize is that while I would love in a perfect world that's hey, you like my stuff here, you're going to love my other stuff.
Right.
That's not how that works, because, and I understand why. Fiction today has become very niche. Like, it's a niche.
Mhm.
So, like Jeddah, for example, which by the way, I thought was a really fun book.
I
Like,
appreciate it, man.
cool book. I still so when I purged my comic collection, that your series was one of the ones I decided to keep.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it.
Well, you got to a point in your life where it's about what gives you joy, right?
Yeah.
So, And no, dude, it's a fun book. Like you should be very proud of it. But in terms of marketing, okay, in terms of now again, part of why I got it, actually a big reason why I initially got it was you. I never would have gotten the book had I not known you, right?
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, so there's two ways to look at marketing. One of them is world building.
Yeah.
Right? One of them is world building. I think that's it's an important one long term for creatives, not
Yeah.
just
You gotta have world.
not just because I say so, but because look, you got to realize that when you create something, this is something. This is a bit of a hard pill to swallow, but it's also some truth to it, right? Um, you know, your books aren't necessarily going to appeal to a wide base, especially when
Mm-hmm.
you start. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to appeal for a very specific base,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there isn't necessarily going to be a crossover right away, and that's just the way it is. Like
Right.
I don't think there's. I think one of the things I realized is I understand now why like traditional publishers tend to go, hey, you do this kind of book, you should do this kind of book,
Yeah.
right? I understand why now. It's because there's no guarantee that the book you're writing is going to reach that same audience you have tapped into. That's what
Right.
it's about. Like honestly, that's the reason why.
Yeah.
No other reason. Now, that doesn't mean you can't, right?
Right.
But you gotta be very pragmatic in the fact that it's okay. So Jeddah Tales of the Toshigawa is a YA book. So if that's the case, if you have accepted that little reality, then okay. What what is this about YA books that the people who are reading YA will love about it?
Yeah.
It's an honest question, right?
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, have you asked that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
what's your
mean,
answer?
the whole point about there's two different parts of it. Some of them have been around for a long time reading the book, you know what I mean? Even through
Yeah.
we relaunched it just recently. So, um and hold on, I'm gonna share my screen so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about.
Oh, sure.
Um oh, well, it says I can't.
Really? Hold
Yeah.
on. Let's try something here. Hold on. No, I can't do that. Let's see something here. No, I don't want to do that. So how do I make it so they changed everything? It used to be that you hit the more button, I can make you a host.
Yeah. Well, it's all
Right?
right. If you can't, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. You can just show off your work as you go here. I'm
Yeah.
looking.
Um,
Nope. No. Okay. That's weird. That's not there. I'm just looking.
yeah, but a lot
Oh,
of
done it. There you go. Done.
oh, cool. Okay.
Initiate without host. There you go.
All right.
That should fix it.
See if I can do it.
If it doesn't, let me know.
Um, yeah, it still says I can't do it. It's a Zoom. It's like a Zoom thing, man.
Okay, I just did whiteboards.
Oh, you did
You can start
whiteboards.
sharing
Okay.
when someone else is sharing. All participants. You can initiate. Go to whiteboard option. See if that'll do it. Who can start collaboration?
Let's see if this works.
I'm making some change. I just made a little change there. See if that helped you.
Okay. See.
Try that. I'm trying everything I can.
That's fine. Let's try this.
Did it work?
I'm trying. I gotta log in. um, let's see if this does work on my.
Not a
Okay,
bad attempt.
let's.
Did it work?
So I go to join, right?
It should be. It's been a while since I've done it not as a host. Because if I want to share a screen, I just go like this. Advanced sharing options here. Who can share? Try that.
Okay, there we go.
Yep. I'm sorry, I had to find the option. Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Zoom has not the same.
Let's see. Oh, that's my, what you call it?
You'll get there. Do.
Taking forever.
I get. Is it going here? Wade's
I
World
think so.
has started screen sharing. I'm looking at your screen. It's blah blah. Oh, there we go.
Can you
There
see
you
it?
go.
Okay, so like there, as you can see, like this one right here, this is like a different this is my web comic, right? And it's about essentially girls fighting in an MMA league, essentially. It's like this futuristic MMA league, and it's more. Most of the people that actually read this one, they actually go to. They are more into, you know, the ladies that I draw. You know what I mean? Essentially.
Absolutely.
um and that's sometimes, you know, some of the people from the Jetta Tales of Toshigawa story, they gravitate more towards the women because people like, you know,
Sure.
how I draw women.
Yeah.
So that's why they, and especially on DeviantArt, if they knew my earlier work on DeviantArt, it was a lot of, you know, women. That's essentially, that's what I was ended up drawing a lot of. I ended up getting a lot of mainstream artwork through like IDW and some stuff like that, and it was for drawing characters like, you know, like the ladies from Bad Girls Club, and you know, for that comic book, and doing stuff for you know, like Deja Torres and stuff like that. So I ended up doing a comic strip in that way to kind of be able to have a variety of, like, you know, different artwork, you know, essentially, you know what I mean, that goes into different directions. And that's kind of why none of the artwork actually crosses over at all, you know. And you know, and to certain degree, that's okay. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want the same readers for, like, say, Shinobi Ninja Princess to read, you know, this book. You know, you know, Shinobi Ninja Princess is essentially a kid story, so they shouldn't be reading our web comics Ready to Spar. So that's why that one is age restricted. So it makes sense.
Sure.
You know, in a way, but it would be cool to have crossover, a little bit of crossover between this book and maybe Jetta Tales of the Toshigawa. But even there's like, this story and the Jetta story is so different. This one is more kind of like grounded in a WWE sports reality, you know what I mean, as
Yes.
opposed to a ninja sci-fi, you know, with monsters and things like that. You know, action sci-fi with monsters and and very anime influenced and all that kind of stuff. So, you know,
Sure.
it's understandable. It's understandable there's why there's not as much crossover. So I'm just trying to promote all of them as differently and as evenly as I possibly can, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely to a point. I mean, if you'd like a suggestion, if you
Yeah,
wanted, if you wanted to tie them more together, right? I'm not saying you should do this. I'm just saying this is the line of thinking, right? Part of the line of thinking you got to consider. This talks about the story you want to tell more than anything else. Not
Yeah.
necessarily like you draw pretty women, right? But it's not so much the story. I mean, like I said, you got a girl in a thong. You got two girls in a thong. You got evil looks like an evil board director kind of guy. I don't know if
Mhm.
he's actually evil, but that's kind of the impression I got looking at that.
Yeah.
Right. So you got a very certain kind of story and tone here, right? Jeddah does not have the same tone at all,
No.
right?
No.
Right, right, and but and also I don't know if it actually would work the same way if you wanted to highlight what they have in common, which is you do have pretty women in Jeddah too, right?
Uh-huh.
Right, like that would be the natural way to kind of link them together. But do you want to do that? Do you want to do that? Would it compromise the story you're trying to tell? If the
Yeah,
answer
not
is
really.
yes,
Not really, just because this story right here is just so well. For one, on a practical sense, format wise, this is like a weekly story that goes up, every Thursday. So,
sure.
that'll be hard to format wise to be able to pull off with how we do Jetta. But at the same time too, um, it's this book right here is just, it's way more, well, this story, I won't say because it's not a book, but this story is just way more adult oriented, and it would not be conducive to be able to be in that same realm. Now, unless somebody was like, was coming from, like, saying Ready to Spar and was like, hey, I want to see what other work they got, and they went and bought it that way, but not going the other way. I don't think it would work going the
Okay,
other way.
no, it's fair. I mean, you
Yeah.
you you got you got to know the answer to that question yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Right,
I wouldn't feel comfortable with it, for one. And then,
and that's fair.
and then too, it's like that whole thing about putting all your eggs in one basket. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like I don't want to put everything I got into one specific basket, and then something falls apart, and then it causes everything else to fall apart as well. You want to be able to diversify. So,
Oh, I
um,
totally get that too.
yeah,
I understand the thinking there.
yeah,
But I'm just
yeah,
saying that if you there is definitely a way to do it. It's just do you
yeah,
want to? And sometimes the answer to that is no, you really don't.
yeah,
Right? And there's
yeah,
nothing wrong with that being your answer, by the way. It's just, but if you made it your answer, then you gotta okay, it's different on purpose,
yeah.
and that's not a terrible thing,
Right.
You know.
It's it's not a terrible thing for it to be different. Um, which, like I said, and for this web comic, I didn't really, tell you the truth. Like, I think I just put up episode 307 for this web comic on our Patreon, right?
Okay.
I didn't think I really didn't count on it going past 10, tell you the truth.
Fair.
Um, when it was on DeviantArt, I didn't, it was I just put it up for free on DeviantArt. I was having problems with our publisher at the time,
Yeah.
and they were not promoting our Shinobi Ninja Princess book, but we were getting like really good reactions from, readers, which were kids and things like that, and they weren't promoting it because it just wasn't what they were wanting to put out there. Like, so I'm not exactly sure what their reasoning is. We're having we're in the middle of a legal battle with them right now anyway. So
Okay.
uh,
So
but
I'm not. Then I just this is just a piece of advice. Be careful how you go about it here, because
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But they weren't the best people to be around.
No, that's fair.
And so I was kind of upset with that, and I made this comic strip because I was really reading through Instagram, and I saw two women who were like Instagram models, and they were arguing because both of them did like kickboxing, um, but like they did kickbox. It was pretty much a. You remember there was a fad at one point where everybody was doing kickboxing on their
Yeah,
Instagram stream, and whether you were a novice or you were like a fighter, everybody was doing it. Like everybody was in the gym punching a bag. Everybody was doing hand mitts.
sure.
Um, it was a big fad. So they were jumping on that fad, but they were arguing back and forth about whether or not one of them was a good fighter and the other one wasn't. Like and I was fascinated because me, I'm a I can't I have a martial arts background. So
Yeah.
to me, both of them was like, well, you could use a little bit of brush up on your hand techniques and your feet and your foot techniques and stuff like that. But to see them arguing back and forth, I was like, man, I'm gonna do a comic strip about this. So, and that's essentially how this started. You know what I mean? And I didn't want it to go. I don't say want it to go. I didn't plan it to go past that argument essentially, and it ended up taking off on DeviantArt, and folks ended up liking it. So we were like, well, we can't just keep this going with our current work out there as well, going in the same fashion. So we moved it over um to our Patreon, and that's where we've been keeping it ever since. But yeah, I never saw this actually being something that was going to be um something that was going to be around for 307 issues or episodes.
Yeah,
That's
well,
crazy.
sometimes that's how it goes, man. You start doing something, and next thing you know, you're doing it all the time. You're like, how the fuck did this happen?
Right,
Right?
right.
What what happened to my life?
Yeah,
Like,
that's literally for real because I didn't, I took it for granted how much time it takes to be able to do even, a weekly something is like that's crazy. And then we were trying to do Wade's World at the same time, the Wade's World web YouTube show
yep.
at the same time, man. It was crazy. That's why you haven't heard from me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so folks, just so you understand, I was actually editing his videos for a good 3 months, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Hey, these are fun."
yeah.
And nothing, not a zero.
We haven't even recorded. We haven't even been able to record for that video for Wade's World, man. Um, since I take that back, I think I have a few recorded, but that's me playing Street Fighter 6. It's not any kind of artwork.
Yes,
Um, and I have zero commentary. It's just me being salty because I'm getting beat with Kimberly.
dude, I straight up, I could do the commentary. That'd be fun.
Uh, I might just go ahead and send it over to you, man, because
Yeah,
I I swear, man, I'm sitting there sweating bullets, man. That game, I love Street Fighter. I love where they've taken the game and stuff
oh,
for this new one.
it's
It,
not it's not my mama's Street Fighter. That's for sure. I played it at San Diego Comic Con. It's like,
dude,
oh, this is
it's
not.
so difficult. There's so much stuff to think about in that game nowadays. Like I thought like Street Fighter 5 wasn't that difficult to me, but Street Fighter 4, when they revamped it for this new generation, it was pretty difficult for me to get a hold of to get a hang of because I was coming from like Street Fighter 3, right? I think that was the latest
Ah,
one that Street Fighter 3 was the latest one that I had try to actually play like sit down and learn frame data and just go and be like, okay, so if I do this, then I have to do this and learn the matchup. Street Fighter 3 was the last one, and for me Street Fighter 4 was so different that with their with the skills and stuff like that that you could actually be able to implement, and the parry system that was in it. I was like, it was hard, man. It was hard. And then Street Fighter Five came out, and I kind of fell off. I was just like, I didn't like it too much. Um, but Street Fighter
So
Six, this one came out, and I'm just like, man, I've been playing the crap out of it because it's so fun. But the characters that I pick, man, are just not top tier. They're not good at all.
uh,
But
uh,
they're
uh,
fun
uh,
to play with, you know.
so can you stop sharing the screen for a second? I'll show you what I just
Yeah,
did. I'll just show it to you.
yeah.
So I'll show the audience, and then we'll get back to you sharing the screen. So, ladies and gentlemen, uh, ah, going the wrong way here. That was my first attempt at Massacre Girl.
Hey, cool, sweet.
First attempt.
Her name is Massacre Girl.
That's her game.
Awesome.
That is the match. You go back to sharing screen if you want, man.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah. I just wanted to show long enough so that people could see what I did, and then we go back to
Yeah.
you.
No, that's Massacre Girl. I've so I don't play. I've never played Magic the Gathering like at all.
Okay, so all right. So let's talk Street Fighter first. We'll talk Magic in a minute, but we'll talk Street Fighter first.
Yeah.
So Magic. So Street Fighter. Once upon a time, Wade, I was legitimately fantastic at the game. I was like not even like I'm not even joking. Like I was championship level good.
Oh
Like
yeah, cool.
I was championship level good. Like Street Fighter 2 up to Street Fighter Alpha 3, which is before Street Fighter 3.
Yeah,
I was fantastic at the game. Like
yeah,
I could still, if I wanted. I went back to the arcades a few years back, and I played the old Street Fighter. I found it in a place where they actually had the old Street Fighter games. My muscle memory is not what it was. Like
yeah.
I think the other thing that has to be understood, Wade, when you stop playing those games, the muscle memory goes.
Right, right.
Right? So you can still know what to do somewhat,
Hmm.
but you don't have the timing down anymore
Right.
to do it. So, so the thing is, I'm going to pick another card here at random because that was my attempt at Miss Massacre Girl. So that was an attempt. I'm not going to say it was great. It wasn't bad, I don't think, but I don't think it
Oh,
was.
that was cool. It was cool.
It's a little too. I don't want to do that one. Not because I don't think I can do it, but I don't think it's as fun as some of the other ones in here. So I'm gonna pick one. I'm gonna actually just pick one. I'm gonna pick. Flogging that is always fun. We'll try that. We'll try one of the new ones I just picked up, which is. I'll try Charming Scoundrel. That's what I'll try next. So the magic card for anyone looking is right here. It is the Charming Scoundrel. I wouldn't trust her with a 10-foot pole. But I'm just saying that probably shouldn't. But that's why she's a scoundrel. So anyway, so Street Fighter 3, the parry system threw me off at first.
Yeah.
With that game, I was okay at it. I'm not gonna say I was great at Street Fighter 3. Street Fighter 4 was a throwback to the old Street Fighter 2.
Hmm.
So I was okay at it. I'm not gonna say I was great, but I was okay. I didn't play Street Fighter 5. So I played Street Fighter 6 for the first time at San Diego Comic-Con. They actually had arcade machines there.
Yeah.
I picked Cammy because Cammy's a fun one. I love Cammy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like top tier, man.
Oh no, I believe it because she's never. When I was at my Apex, dude, Cammy was my gal. Like,
yeah.
Like when I was at my Apex. Now, to say I was good at it, well, I'm not what I was, and I realized how far I had fallen when I played that game. I was like, I am just not there anymore.
Dude, it's a completely, man, it's different, dude. The stuff you gotta think about in it.
And you know what? That's fine. It should be.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff you gotta do, you gotta think about it in it is
It's so different, and that's
yeah.
great. I like all games need to evolve. Like let's be real about something, right?
Yeah.
Like all games, no matter how much we Now, there are things about the old games you don't want to lose in terms of the feeling the games gave
Right.
you,
Right.
right? But
Especially with legacy characters, if you've been playing with legacy characters for a long time, they should play fairly the same in a new mechanic, right?
well,
You know.
yeah, like I've heard Mr. Ryu
Hmm.
is very different. I heard Mr. Ken is very different. Now, is that a good thing? Probably, maybe a bit, because you don't want to make the Shoto fighters the same thing
Yeah.
every single like that's the thing with legacy characters. You want to look in Mortal Kombat. Scorpion's always gonna say, "Get over here." Just
Uh-huh.
he's always gonna say it, and he should, right? And he
Yeah.
should. This is not a question, ladies and gentlemen, right? Mortal Kombat knows their audience. They are not going to say, "Hey, Scorpion will never say that." They will say that because they're like, "We're not stupid. You expect that. We are going to deliver that."
Right.
And they should, right?
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, Mortal Kombat 1 is out as
Yes, it
well.
is.
Yeah. Um but um but yeah, I mean they play different. They play different, but they still have their signature moves and their signature
Oh
ways
yeah, absolutely.
to their signature routes to be able to get to those moves and combination haven't changed all that much. Um but the difference in the system mechanic is what makes it a lot to be able to think about. Like
Oh yeah.
the drive gauge itself has made it to where it is very, man, it's almost like, even though like characters are, there are clearly characters that are better than other characters.
Sure.
um, there's still like everybody in that game is deadly just because of the drive gauge and the drive system.
Well,
You know what
that
I mean?
that that, that that's the idea, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
look, one thing a lot of people really I always argue with people on, like, no, you don't want characters to be the same. You want some characters to be better than others. You do.
Yeah.
But that's not what the game really wants. Look, Street Fighter made Dan. They understand this. They made Dan. Okay, Dan sucks. Like he by design, he sucks.
Right, right. He's supposed to though.
Yeah, no, and that's it. They realize that, you know what? There are going to be people that are going to enjoy having a playing with this sucky character.
Right,
There's a portion of the audience that enjoys that he sucks so bad,
right,
right? So you're not going to fight that audience. You're just not. And why should you, right?
right.
But how he sucks. Now that's the challenge. All right.
Yeah,
Right? What makes him absolutely the shits? That is good game design. Because once you have that nailed down and figured out, okay, now, okay, then you ask the really hard crap. Okay, we figured out how to make him suck. Now, how can he win? What's his
right,
win
right,
condition? Because he
right,
still needs one, right? He still needs a way to win. Because there is nothing quite so fun as beating somebody with Dan and rubbing it in. It feels great. I speak from experience. I've been on both ends of that, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So right, because there is something to be said about a good Dan player. There really is, right? Now, he sucks on purpose. Actually, here's the thing: a good Dan player has nothing to lose because you see, it's Dan. If they lose, they're supposed to, right? And if they
Yeah,
win, well, they beat you with Dan. What are you going
right.
to tell them? You got lucky? There's no way to cover that, right? So
Yeah. But I
I
will
say
say
all
though,
that.
Dan in Street Fighter Five though, he was very viable in Street Fighter Five. Like
Sure.
his gameplay, it was not the best. It wasn't the easiest, but yeah, he was still pretty
Well,
viable.
okay. So Street Fighter 4, he was actually okay too. One of the pros to Dan, they actually said this. He's not the worst Dan you've ever seen because there have been some bad Dans. Like there have been
Yeah,
some bad Dans, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
so all I'm paying this attention to, folks, is that by design, good games. Oh, do keep in mind that you are constantly. You need bad characters. You need good characters. You need characters that are guaranteed to win. But all good games do this, right? All good games keep in mind that, you know what? Sometimes these characters are supposed to suck. And don't fight that. Embrace it, right? Because there's a portion of the audience that's going to love that you did this, right? That's
Yeah.
feeding one aspect of the audience, right? Not the whole, because not every, let's be honest, we laugh at Dan because we're Street Fighter fans.
Yeah,
He's not
yeah.
the character I'd give to a first time player. Like,
No. If you did that, they probably never pick up Street Fighter again. They'd be like, man,
exactly. So I
you
mean,
did
because
that on purpose. You did that on
okay,
purpose. You can make me look bad and be like, no, I didn't. When you really probably did.
you did. At that point, you're just being an asshole. I mean, I mean, I'm entertained, but still, I mean, I get it, right? But that's
Yeah.
the point, right? You don't want to do that the first time you play. You're playing with somebody, right? You want to give them a character they have a chance to win. Like that's why Ryu and Ken are always in most of these games, is because they're iconic, yes, but they're also accessible. They're relatively easy to figure out.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. You need characters like that. You need more complex characters like too, like M Bison, for example.
Hmm.
He's a good character, but he's
Hmm.
not someone I'd give to a beginner, right?
No. No.
Right? But if you got the basics nailed down, try Bison, because Bison, he takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you're used to him, he's as deadly as anybody else,
Yeah.
right? So that's the whole thing, right? You have characters like that throughout, and that is fine. Like you should, right? And you really should. Now that's good game design. It's not just it's just good game design. You want that variety, that difference.
Yeah. I
Right.
so that's kind of one of the reasons why, well, like I said, I've been having a lot of fun playing the game.
Yeah.
Even the character that I have, she's super fun to play with. Don't get me wrong. It's just that, um, tools wise, she does not have all the tools that everybody else that are awesome are in the game. Now, with that being said, you can pull off some awesome stuff with her. Like you can pull off some really outstanding, very flashy things.
Yeah.
If you could get a person's like mental capabilities, kind of frazzled because she's so fast.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's very, very in high level play. She's a very difficult character to be able to win with. Um, but like I said, she's fun. She's fun.
But that's the thing, right? You gotta make a decision what you want in a game. That's the other thing too. Do you want to just win?
Yeah,
Right? If you want to win, you're gonna pick one of the fighters that are really good. Again, Capcom's not stupid. They're
right.
not going to give you just one fighter that's great. They're going to give you a variety, right? But they're not. But they know. Again, there's an audience expectation, right?
Yeah.
They're
And
not
I'm
going to.
like
They're not
Evo.
going.
I'm not planning on going to Evo anytime soon or being in any kind of tournament pretty times for anytime soon. I'm just looking to have fun online.
Yeah, exactly. And my personal favorite at this point though is when I actually beat somebody good by because you can still do it. You can still beat somebody by the button mash.
The button mash.
You know
Man,
what I'm talking about.
yeah, button mashing, man. Button mashing jab in this, man. At low levels, man, will knock you. Will get you. Could get you wins, man. It could actually like jab. Button mashing jab 3 times into a super is for real.
Oh no,
And
I know. I was pleasantly surprised and mortified. Right at
yeah,
the same time, that
yeah,
happened the first time I played the game. Like, hey, wait, I I
yeah,
don't have to do the special moves anymore the same way. That's great, but also terrifying because now they're expecting the super. If they get good at it, they're expecting you to do the super now. It's like
Yeah.
I can't do the same thing. I can't sucker you the same way, right? I gotta figure out the new tricks because I have to figure out the new tricks because I'm not cool, and I gotta relearn the game all over again if I'm gonna play it, right? But I also gotta make a decision too. Is do I okay for me, right? Now I'm not quite as competitive as I was in my younger days,
Mm-hmm.
but I've still got that in me.
Mm-hmm.
Do I let that monster out and get to the point where I'm really good again? Because I'll get there. It'll
Yeah.
take me a little longer, but I'll get there, and then I will start smashing people. Is
Mm-hmm.
that the best use of my time anymore?
Right. Well, that's where that's the thing where it's like, do you do this for fun, or are you gonna try and actually do something with it?
Yeah,
Like for me, there's a difference between doing something for fun, like say drawing, right?
yeah.
Drawing for fun and drawing something, or drawing something for fun and drawing something because you love it, and then drawing something because you have to make money off of it. Like,
There's
do I
been
want to be able to make money off of playing video games? It's kind of one of those things where it's like, some people can separate that fun factor from their actual gig, you know what I mean? But me, I can't. Like even though I do this like drawing for both fun, relaxation, but I also do it for money, even though
yeah.
I do that, it's still difficult because you have to separate the two between what am I doing for money and what am I doing for fun. And that's when it becomes like a slippery slope. And that's what I feel like I can do in art, but I can't do if I was trying to do video games for fun. I mean,
Yeah, so I think I could, but it's also, and I think this is also partially our generation too. It's video games,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
And I like games. By the way, well, let's talk Magic, okay?
yeah,
Okay, Magic is essentially a math game.
mm-hmm,
Essentially, I'm trying to kill you. Like I'm trying to knock your life points to zero. Is generally the
mm-hmm,
rule of thumb with Magic. Okay, that's the rule of thumb.
right,
And so that's my rule. That's the game, right? Is my that's my magic skills, right? I want to get to I want to knock you to zero, but I gotta do math. I gotta figure out combat, damage. I gotta trade, right? And I have creatures. I have planeswalkers. I have magic spells, and I have a resource system, which means that I can't do everything at once. This isn't Yu-Gi-Oh. If you ever heard stories about Yu-Gi-Oh, you'll know that there is no cost to anything in Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's why that game's so insane,
mm-hmm,
right? And so you want a game that'll the game that's where Magic's balance is. It has a mana based system, right? It doesn't try to it doesn't try to you can go infinite mana in Magic. It is possible, but it's not necessarily easy to do, right? It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. You got to build for that, and so it's math. You gotta do all these calculations at all these different points in the game, and that's fun. I
yeah,
play a format called Commander. Commander is the what I call the casual Magic format. It's casual.
yeah,
I can build a competitive deck, but I don't necessarily need to. I can just play a silly. I'm playing a deck. This deck I'm like you're seeing me put together is a recursion deck. I play monsters from my graveyard and I swing and do silly things with them. That's the whole goal of the deck, right? It's not complex, not in the way that not a complex deck strategy. Just really simple, straightforward. I'm gonna smash your face,
yeah,
right? I can do silly shit, and I do silly shit because but I think you've read enough of my stuff to know that I can be a pretty silly guy,
uh-huh,
right? That's a conscious decision. Now it's no longer as lucrative as it was. Magic used to be a lot more lucrative with competitive stuff, but it no
They
longer
do have a
is.
competitive. They do have a competitive like league.
They did. They had a really good
Oh, I
one
didn't know
once.
that.
They had a good one once upon a time. I've actually competed in a few of them.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that. I didn't know that. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
but this is back in the day. Now I'm not going to talk about the current. Um, the company that runs Magic has kind of lost their mind. Well, leave
Is
it
this
at
the same
that.
company?
They got bought out by Hasbro.
Oh, it
And
did. Dang, Hasbro owns everything now.
yeah, well, Magic's one of their biggest properties, like legit.
Yeah.
But they have done a wonderful job. Like Wizards of the Coast was a very respected game company in the community,
Right.
and there's now a very big difference. It's not like again, all games have to evolve a little bit. Like that's just the nature of games. They can't stay the same, and I understand,
Right.
and I think most of us understand that. But there's that. There's changing the game like because it needs to be updated. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's I'm a greedy. I have become a very greedy company,
Ah, yeah.
and the game itself is still very fun. Now, the thing about the commander format, and this is the thing about the commander format, and this is why it has maintained a degree of popularity, is you can play with your old cards. All of your old cards. Like you're
Uh-huh.
not limited to there's a handful of like restrictions, but they make sense. Like the format I'm playing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not all the cards that are in the game would be fun for that format. So they got rid of them, right?
Right. Right.
But that's the only. Those are the only. And it's not a big list. It's a handful of cards. Well, if it's a handful of cards, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to worry about that, right? And if you ever play with those cards, you're like, why is this banned? And you play with it once. Oh, that's why,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Right? It's not fun. So they try to make the format as fun as possible, but you can play like any card you want, right? Almost any card from any set. So I say it like that, right? So if you're a company that's trying to maximize your profits and this is your most popular format, you kind of hate it because
Mm-hmm.
you know player base doesn't have to buy your stuff,
Right.
and they're printing all kinds of things all the time. And like I said, they are going through a phase right now.
So when did they
And
buy it?
what
What year? When did they buy it? Was this recent?
Hasbro has owned them, I think, since like 2015, 2016.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, it might be a little later than that, but yeah. So so you know, so they own them, and everybody's a little like they are kind of how do I put this? They're sabotaging their own stuff, like their own like wells for success. So in a couple of years, it's going to be really interesting to see how healthy the game really is. But the format I play is Commander, so I kind of don't care. If that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
right? If the game disappeared tomorrow, let's say the game stopped tomorrow. I'm not saying it's going to, but let's say the game did.
Yeah.
I could still play my Commander decks for years to come, right?
Yeah.
And I could. There's enough cards out there that I would be exploring the game. This game's 30 years old, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like the game's has. And there are things I've never explored with the game, but the game. I mean, the game is going through um, a phase of this, and they're gonna have to make some decisions about what they want going forward. I do think they're going to sabotage their wealth if they're not careful.
Yeah.
But I also think I also understand too every company goes through these growth periods and these heights and these declines. Look, as much as I love Street Fighter, there were some. Let's be honest. there was a point there that Street Fighter kind of disappeared in the background, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they put out some very lackluster games. I mean,
Yeah.
just recently though. I mean, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, Street Fighter 5 when it first launched was very, poorly received. They had a horrible launch. So yeah, yeah, they just now got back to where people are kind of trusting them again and picking up their
Yeah.
game.
Well, yeah, right. So all of which to say is there's ebbs and flows to all these things. Now, will Magic survive the ebbs and flows? I think so, but I also think that the company right now needs a bit of an ass kicking.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not the only one that shares that sentiment. So they're going to get their asses kicked, and that is their current life path, and I'm not here to argue with their life path.
Hmm.
I'm going to let them do it, and I'm still going to play Commander because I
Right,
like
right.
right. So that's the thing, right? So all right, I did. I'm gonna. You mind if I unshare for just a second, good sir?
Yeah. There you go.
All right, give me a second here. By the way, I hope you've been having fun.
Yeah, yeah. This is actually pretty cool, man. I've been wanting to do a Twitch thing for a little bit. Ah, sweet.
Not bad, I don't think.
Yeah, cool. Who was that again?
This is the charming scoundrel.
Okay.
That's her. And for the folks watching.
Sweet. Yeah, man. I've been wanting to do a Twitch thing for a while, or just live stream some of my artwork. I have
Yeah.
like I do my art classes and stuff like that, and those are all recorded, but they're recorded for the students, to go back and refer. So I would love to be able to do some other stuff. It's just time, man. Time. I just got to figure out a definite schedule and just stick to it,
It's
which is
hard.
difficult.
The hardest thing about freelancing for me is the disciplining my time.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the hardest part. Like, honest to God, that is the absolute ridiculous thing.
Mhm.
Because it doesn't. It's not that um. Oh, it's not that I'm not doing work. Okay, yesterday, I said this off the air, folks. I actually submitted one of my books to an agent. I was like yesterday. I put out a new podcast yesterday. I did a stream yesterday.
Mhm.
So it's not like I did nothing yesterday, but I still have all this other work I have to do.
Yeah.
Like, one of the reasons I'm actually walking away from the Twitch stream is I want to do the travel show version of this podcast,
Mhm.
right? That's why I'm kind of wrapping this up a little bit, because I'm like, this, if I want to do the travel show, I have to finish this. But there have been people I've wanted to have on this version of the show. You were actually one of those people I've wanted to have on the show before it was all said and done. And
Awesome. I appreciate
yeah,
it, man.
yeah. Like I said, we've been. I think, yeah, I can say this. We've been friends for years now. So I've watched you. I don't know if you've seen some of the crazy shit I've been doing.
Yeah. Are you still on DeviantArt?
I've never did DeviantArt. I'm
Oh,
gonna let you. I'm gonna let you know a little secret. So about 2020 is when I started drawing.
2020. Oh,
2020.
really? Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I had this. So this is. I think you'll appreciate this as an art teacher. So I for a long time I was terrified that I would suck,
Hmm.
and then I
Hmm.
had this really wonderful thought. So what if I suck?
Right.
Right? But you have to come to that. Like, it doesn't matter what it is in life. Like, whatever you go for in this life, you're gonna suck at
Yeah.
first. You just are. Like, look, you playing Street Fighter 6, you getting your ass kicked is just par for the course for the first little while, right?
Yeah.
You're
That's
you're
that's
going
that's how it
to.
goes. That's how it goes. Um, I have to tell that to a lot of my students. A lot of my students are kids. You know what I mean? They're teenagers. Um, and some of them are younger than teenagers. Some of them are like in grade school still. And a lot of times I have to keep stressing over and over and over again that these concepts are not concepts that you're going to get right off the bat. The things that I'm teaching you, you're going to have to practice it over and over and over again And then one day it'll just click with you. And even if it clicks with you just right now, you are not going to have the skills to be able to be able to fulfill that to its fullest, until
Oh,
you practice it
absolutely.
over and over again. So yeah, I mean, and they have a big fear. They have a huge fear of being scared that I'm going to tell them that, yeah, that's not good. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I'm not going to tell you that, one. And then for two, you can't have that fear because, you know, art is subjective. And then two, you never get better at it if you don't practice it over and over and over again. You know what I'm
I
saying?
I actually had so I had another epiphany too, and this is something I had. This is the pandemic taught me this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I want, and this is going to sound counterintuitive, but hear me out on this. I do want people to tell me I suck a little bit, and here's why. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went to San Diego Comic Con. Right during the week I was in San Diego. So two things happened there. I sold a piece of something I did in a sketch pad. I
Mm-hmm.
sold it right on the spot. Very
That's
like
cool.
that was surreal. That has never happened to me before,
Yeah.
right? And then, but I was just posting stuff on I post stuff on my Facebook. I post stuff all over the place. I
Oh, I
mean,
think I
post,
read this. I think I read this on one of your posts
yeah.
about somebody said,
Oh, it was somebody literally like trashed one of the things that said it's like, how long have you been drawing? I said 3 years.
"Oh
Like
yeah,
not long. Like all things considered, not that long because I was
yeah,
It's so the guy responds by giving me like this book about how to draw and all. It's hilarious to me.
right,
Keep in mind, at this point in the ball game, folks. I mean, I'm not. Again, I don't pretend I'm great at this, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
do have a publishing credit as an illustrator. So it's not
uh-huh,
like I right. It's
right,
not
right,
right. Like it's not like I haven't done it. But this is the thing. As you as you become more pronounced with what you say and what you believe, this has happened more and more and more as I've come out of the pandemic.
mm-hmm,
I realized that the fact that if I take a stand on something, I'm going to push people away from me, but
mm-hmm,
I'm also going to draw people to me.
mm-hmm,
So what I'm actually doing is when I've had these people that tell me I suck because I'm filtering,
mm-hmm.
it's a filter. Are these the people you want in your life? Well,
Well, yeah,
no,
yeah,
right? And folks, it's different than, and I say it like this. It's political opinions and beliefs aren't necessary. I don't think are reasons to divide people. But people will
mhm,
choose to make the decision to walk away from you, and that's fine. Let them, like, let them. They have like that is the question. One of the things I've learned in the last 3 years is if someone is not willing to spend the time or to walk away from or willing to walk away from you, then there's a reason.
mhm,
And it's not probably you. Like, not probably. It's just something you're doing is creating a reaction in them this way.
mhm,
Let them have that reaction. It's not, again, especially if you're being honest and truthful and you're not coming across deliberately trying to hurt somebody, there's
yeah,
nothing you can do. Like, I'm not
yeah,
saying be a dick. What I'm
right,
saying is be true to who you are
right,
and let people decide for themselves what they're going to do with it.
mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of there's a if you man, there's a lot. I've heard it all, man. With as far as like my work is concerned, man, I've had people. You should see some of the DMs that I've gotten sometimes. Sometimes, I've gotten call from everything from a hack to a to the N word to arrogant. You know what I mean? And that's just from posting artwork. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not, and it's one of those things where I'm not. I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh man, I take it on my chest like I'm," you know what I mean? But at the same time, man, it's one of those things where, yeah, man, I'd rather, especially the ones that come from people that would call you a friend, or they in social media world they watch you, or they look at the stuff that you do. Yeah, I'd rather them I'd rather them point themselves out because you know that they are not a supporter and it's not worth your effort or your time to be pursuing them to support your work.
Oh,
So I just kind of be like, all right, whatever, you know what I mean? And I know that those people are not going to be buying a Jetta book or whatever, you know what I mean?
well, see, I actually had a realization. They actually might, but they are a different kind of fan, right? And this is what I like. I actually had a I guess a former friend block me on Twitter because I
Mm-hmm.
tried to explain to her why Trump's growing in popularity,
Mm-hmm.
right? And folks, again, I'm not really, I don't care. You like Trump, you like Trump, you like Biden, you like Biden. I truly don't give a shit that way. But I say it like that because um I was trying to explain there are some I hate to say it, I'm not saying Trump's a good guy, but I don't think Biden's much better. And that feeling is I don't think is I think that feeling is more common than people realize, and there are reasons why. And in trying to point that out, I lost her as a friend. But what happened afterwards was really interesting. Is a couple of her people that were loyal, like I guess following her, they decided to press on with me about my works and about everything else.
Mm-hmm.
They had nothing to do with that discussion at all, right? But they decided to jump in. One of them in particular, I roped that dude for 24 hours.
You what now?
I roped him
Oh yeah.
because I realized something. This is something I've realized. There are people that are going to despise you for what you stand for, but they're going to despise you in the way that they despised Howard Stern. Howard
Mm-hmm.
Stern, when he was at his apex, had people that despised his show and despised what he said or did. They would listen to him for 90 minutes a day. Think about that. Just really think about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, if someone has that kind of reaction to you, right? I have a very this might sound very cold, but I'm also like okay, if they're this passionate about my work, even though they despise it, how can I use it?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That might sound cold. That might sound cold, but I mean, why not? They actually will tout your work harder than you will sometimes,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know, man. I've had the opposite of on social media as far as that concerned, man. Um I've had a lot of people that will watch what I do, um, and they won't say anything about it. But what they will do is that if you watch them, they'll come up with something very similar later on,
Oh,
or
they're trying to copy you.
or exactly like it later on. And then what'll happen is that you know, like for instance, we just set up at a comic book at an anime convention, and there's a guy who used to talk to he used to buy our books all the time. He used to contact me all the time and stuff like that. And then I see him and he has a book and a booth that's set up at the same anime convention that is the name of one of our books. You know what I mean? And people are getting us confused. Like they're going up and asking him, "Hey, where's Martheus? Is he at your booth? Is he at the booth and stuff like that?" And um stuff like that really, that's what I get most. Or I'll get somebody that comes in and they're just there to um just troll. They'll come in and troll, you know what I mean? Um they will like I'll draw a character or something like that, and and they'll come in and be like, well, this character doesn't look like the way the character should, and they're not doing this the way that this is doing, and that'll spur off into a whole other conversation that's just weird. And I'm just like, that's not even for you to I'm not drawing this for you to go and say, hey, Black Canary is not kicking a, uh,
that,
she's not kicking a heavy bag the
that
right way.
that
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, that mine is like my. That's why I kind of I'm on social media. I'm telling people what I do and what's coming out next, but I really don't take any stock in social media, that much anymore. You know what I mean? Um,
No, well, what I realize is social media is a place to advertise. That's it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's what it is. But this is the okay. So this is the tricky balance. And this is what I found is the tricky balance. We I don't just buy the work. This is
hmm
gonna like you're as much the product as the work itself in some way,
right. Agreed. Right.
right? So the thing is, what you got to realize is part of your job, as from the marketing standpoint, is to establish a connection and a relationship with your audience, however
Yeah.
you do it. Now, I'm not saying social media is the only way to do it. There are other options like your newsletter, your Patreon, like a
hmm
platform that's not necessarily tied to um,
Buying ads, buying ads,
ads.
microwave.
Ads. Okay, so ads are great. They are great. They definitely can do things. But in terms of relationship building, listen, man, I don't know about you, but every time I watched a beer commercial, I might fantasize about it, but I have no real connection to it. You know what I mean? Right? So, right?
Yeah.
It's the people. It's the
Yeah.
people you deal with, right? The people you interact with. So the tricky part is something I realize is you do have to put yourself out there a little bit in social media or on your platform of choice. We'll say it like that,
hmm
right? Whatever that is. So the question then is, how much of yourself do you put out there? What part of yourself are you comfortable with knowing that there are trolls, there are assholes out there, and there are people that are going to come at you for no reason, for no
hmm
good reason, right? And you got to kind of make a decision of what that line is for you, but you also can't completely shut that connection off either. That's kind of what I've realized,
Yeah.
right? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm gonna go all in on shit, right? Like again, I'm not afraid to talk about anything, but I'm also going to be like, you know what? There are things about my life I'm never going to tell the audience,
Yeah.
and I'm going to keep it that way.
Right.
But I'm always going to do a motivational thing. I'm always going to do like I'm gonna put my drawings up. I don't give a shit.
hmm
At some point, I'm sure somebody will copy me too. I'll be like, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I've made it in this business. When, right? Right?
Like copies you.
Yeah. Well, I've already been trolled. So, I mean, if I've been trolled, that's great. So now the next step is being copied. And then the next step after that is the whole journey. Like, you'll never go somewhere. And then one day you realize, no, you're there.
Yeah.
Right. That's how this journey works. But again, I realize that it's not my products as much as it is me
hmm
that people are into. And you gotta figure out what that is for you.
Yeah. And that, see, like that for me, I'm I mean, I loved and I still do. I love being able to go to conventions. I love anime conventions, and that's where, a good amount of the people that are on my social media page now, they know me from that,
Yeah.
um, because I used to before COVID, I used to do a lot of conventions, man. I used to do a lot. I'll take that back. I don't want to even say before COVID, before I had a kid, I did a lot
Yeah.
of conventions, and then that took a break, when we had a
Oh
kid.
yeah.
Not by a lot though, because we still just took him. Like he goes everywhere with us.
Oh yeah.
But now it's just like I said, it's just at first it was just me going to conventions, setting up and doing stuff. But now it's all three of us, you know what I mean? And then stuff as well. So that balloons by three as far as like financially the impact of that. So I've slowed down a little bit. But going back, most of the people that know me, they know me from conventions and stuff like that. And I love being able to meet people in person, and I think that's the one thing that I miss is the personal, being able to personally say what's up to people and
Yeah.
come and buying my book and stuff like that.
Oh, I agree. Like that, there is, and again, that's kind of why, like I said, you gotta figure out what like you gotta figure out what social media is for you,
Mhm.
and what I found for me personally is that social media is I can still interact with some people. Like I said, I've met you through social media. We did this podcast, and
Mhm.
you know, so I've used it to establish connections with people. But that's it, man. Like I realize that it's not the real world. The real world's out
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
right? The real world's out there. Social media is a um it can be a prison if you let it be, right?
yeah,
Right? So you have to go out into the world and be a part of it somehow, some way. That's again why I'm going to the travel show. That's a big part of it. I love
yeah.
interacting with people. I'm doing that next week. I'm filming another show next week actually. Um, I'm putting up when we're done here. I'm putting up my 8th episode on my Patreon, right? Just because that I've been figuring out what the new show is going to look like and what it feels like,
Mhm.
and yeah, just having a good time in the process of doing it. Right? They're shorter than these shows, but I don't
Mhm.
think that's entirely a bad thing either. You know?
Right. That's pretty cool, man. Just I want to see how that goes. So are you gonna? Shoot, I gotta get out of here and pick up my son here in a bit. But are you? I want to ask: are you going when you do the travel shows? Like, are they gonna be live, or are you gonna try and do them live, or are you gonna try and do them like?
Initially taped
Yeah,
because I want to figure out like think of it like when you're telling a story, you want to figure out how it works before
yeah,
you really play with it.
right,
Yeah, right. Now, once I figure that out, the next step, like then maybe I do come back on Twitch at that point,
yeah,
right? And do a live show at different conventions or different places and
mm-hmm,
do stuff, right? I think it'd be really cool. But also like here's the other thing, okay? You're episode 1007,
yeah,
right? Think about that, right? I've done almost 600 episodes on Twitch. I've met so many cool people. You know
yeah,
what I really want to do? I'm gonna go where you're at in Tennessee and go, hey Martheus, right?
mm-hmm,
Play
mm-hmm,
Street Fighter person.
yeah,
You can
yeah, yeah,
you can kick my ass for a few hours, right?
yeah, yeah,
Right? We can do that, or maybe we decide, hey, let's debate good anime. Well, like which one's better, Full Metal Alchemist or One Piece? Or we can
right, right,
talk about all the different stuff, right?
yeah,
But to do it in person is different, and you know that too,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Totally, right? And that's the thing. I've been very blessed to meet some very cool people,
mm-hmm,
and I can do what I'm doing now anywhere.
mm-hmm,
So why not? And I don't have kids or a house. I'm free to do what I please.
yeah, yeah.
So why not?
Yeah, that's a cool man. That would be a cool idea. Plus, man, you could get it to where you could be doing this at these cons and things like that, and
Wait,
the con bring you out. You know what I mean? To do.
because that's already kind of. I got to San Diego for as a professional for the first time ever. I didn't
Yeah,
compete,
yeah,
so yeah. Like no, dude, there is a master plan, but I gotta work my ass off for the next 6 months or so to get there. But I
yeah.
will get there, and when I get there, I'll be on the road, and
That'd be cool.
I'm still gonna be doing road shows in town. And hell, I
Hmm.
got content from San Diego that's going to be coming out this week too.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
That's pretty cool.
this what this year's been all about. I mean, I didn't quite make it to on the road this year, but I mean, I did get to go to San Diego Comic Con, and as far as that goes, that's a good
That's a
consolation prize.
that's a win right there.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's my consolation prize, folks. I won, kind of, sort. All right, so that's it, man. That's life. Like you keep going and you make those opportunities happen. And that's the next goal. Like I had an opportunity fall in my lap. I did that now. I've accomplished that. No, so now guess what? It's about going on the road because life's out there.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
man.
make some magic happen out there, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, man. That's exactly what we're trying to do with all these stories and stuff, man. Just trying to be able to you know, do my own thing, and just have some fun with doing my own stuff for a change, you know. But also at the same time being able to, you know, work on everybody else's stuff because I'm still working on, on other projects for other people and stuff like that too. So,
Sure.
but yeah, but it's all stuff that I want to do. It's kind of, you know, which is really fun. So, um,
Well, well,
looking
well,
forward
good,
to.
well, good sir. I wish you luck. This is what I wish for you, because I think you're a good dude. So doing the 3 episodes I did, you have a very cool family. You really, really do. Like honestly.
Stupid.
Oh no, 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 you're not stupid. Not stupid. I'm gonna paint you a really, really cool compliment. This is the compliment I'm gonna have. You and your wife are, and just I just basically watching just how your son reacts to things, right?
No,
You have a very loving family, and you should be very proud of that, because that's, and like that, as well as I do, that like not a lot, not in one, your son. I feel, I know you probably would say you're lucky to have him,
yeah,
but he's lucky to have you too. You guys are really, like, again, I can see how you nurture that, and that's
appreciate
a
it,
huge
man. I
compliment.
appreciate it.
Yeah. So that is my compliment to you, sir, because
Appreciate it.
that's a testament to you, right? So
Yeah, yeah. We try to. I try. I'm very proud of him and proud of the family. We try to have as much fun as we possibly can, and that's the I guess that's the mantra of our family, man. Is just trying to be able to have as much fun as we possibly can, um and just be able to live life. You know, a lot of people don't. They don't get a chance to live life. You know, they dwell, man, and I hate dwelling. You know what I mean?
oh,
I want to be able
I'm
to live.
I'm
So
too old for that shit. Like no, I'm way too old for that shit. Like, look, one day we're not gonna be here, and I made myself a promise a long time ago. I may have a million mistakes, but I'm gonna have it's. I'm trying to keep my regrets to literally 2 hands.
right, right, yeah, me too.
I'm trying to. I'm trying
Right.
to. I there's a handful of regrets. I've made lots of mistakes, but I
Yeah,
don't. But there's very little in this life I regret,
right,
and I'm trying to keep it that way because I don't understand why people let regrets happen. It
right.
hurts way too much. I have found regrets are far more painful than mistakes, and honestly, and I speak as someone that has done some incredibly stupid shit. So I mean, right? So, right? I would rather, I'm gonna look at the Almighty. He's gonna look at me. He's gonna say, Josh, you were stupid in some of these things. You did some stupid, stupid shit. And we say, yeah, I did.
Well, cool, man. Well, I'm gonna have to go pick up. Speaking of my son, I
Yeah,
got to pick up my son. But I did want to show where I was. I didn't finish everything, but
that's really cool.
kind of,
That's really,
yeah.
really cool.
Um, with the girls booty up at the top. So, like I said, this comic strip is adult, but at our store we have more of the streamlined, you know, kid friendly, not not the not safe for work stuff at our store. So,
So
um,
okay, so let's do a proper plug before you wrap up.
oh yeah,
Where
yeah.
can people go get your stuff if they want to get your stuff?
Well, let's see. This story right here is called Ready to Spar. Ready the number two and spar like you're getting ready to
Ready
spar.
Spire, okay.
Yeah. And it's on Patreon. So patreon.com/, ready to spar. You can see it there. And my comic book, that the one that you might have seen in stores or in the libraries and things like that, Shinobi Ninja Princess and Jetta Tales of the Toshigawa, those are on toshigawauniverse.com. Um, and that is actually, there's more stuff there. There's artwork that's there for sale. I have some prints and some illustrations. I used to do some sketch cards, some Lucasfilm sketch cards. I still have a couple of those that are there. So all that stuff is on that site. And then If you want to get in touch with me, I'm on social media. All you gotta do is look up Martheus Wade, and you can find me on Instagram or I'm on Twitter. I don't know if I can't remember if I don't check my Twitter, but Instagram and Facebook, and YouTube is Wade's World on YouTube. So that's us.
That's right. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my Patreon up there as well. It's just Joshing Podcast. The roadshow has already started. You can definitely check it out. $5 a month gets you access to all the content so far. My San Diego content is going to drop actually imminently because I'm going to be doing some stuff today for First Comics News, and you're going to probably see it there first. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, so there's that. So for that will do it today. Tomorrow I have another streamer join the podcast. Jag Trust is going to close out the week. But I want to thank Martheus for actually taking the time to finally get to do this. Thanks, brother.
Yeah. No problem, man. It was fun, dude. It was
Yeah.
fun.
So for everybody watching, everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see you guys next time.